Good morning and welcome to the Pleasure for Health podcast. My name is Ailsa Kepi and I am very happy to have today with me my youngest daughter, Hajar, who we did not a podcast episode, but a YouTube video, I think it was 10 years ago now, on how to talk to your teens about sex. And she's back for her 10-year reunion, and this time she's in her 20s, and we are talking about how relationships have changed in the generations since myself, in my 50s. I remember certain things about relationships. How have they changed now for the young folks in their 20s? And where do we think relationships are going in the future? This is going to be a hot topic, I think, and I'm excited to see where we end up. So if you're listening, glad to have you. And please check out any other podcast or blogs on my website, pleasureforhealth.com. All right, let's dive in. So, Hajar, do you want to say just a little bit about you, like kind of your age group, and what is your overall idea about, when you think about finding your forever person, or maybe you don't even think about that anymore. Like, do you want to say a little bit about how you view relationships, like in an overall view?
Well, I'm 23 now, and I think the first podcast or the first YouTube video we did, I was around like 17. And I think I've had like one serious relationship so far in my life, which was 3 years. And we met in high school, and we were together for 3 years, and then we split in like 2023 or something like that. But yeah, I don't think it's out of the realm to think of like your forever person. I think that's still very much like a thing that people think about at my age as well, of thinking you want to spend, like, yes, I want to get married and all of that. I do think of the future, but it is definitely tough. I will say that. I don't know if it was like there's similar challenges and obviously different ones. I think social media has a lot to play nowadays, which it probably didn't when you...
Yeah, let's dive into that. Like, how did we meet people back in the day? Like, it's hard to remember, but not that long ago, we didn't have any social media. There was no online dating. There was like, you met someone at the church group or a social or a school or at work, and you had to actually run into these people. You might travel and meet someone, and that was super exotic, but like there wasn't that many ways to meet people outside of your circle.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's something about that. You knew the family, or you knew the people that potentially you were meeting, so it wasn't a pretty face on a screen that could be somebody completely different in real life. Like, does that ever freak you out when you're online dating?
I think so. I feel like even with you, you're a special topic, because even when you met like my father, for example, you also met in a weird scenario where you met in the circus, and that's also, I feel like
that's a whole nother episode, by the way. We'll do an episode about how I met their dad, but anyway, yeah.
But it was also a special circumstance in your time, I would assume, because not a lot, that is a weird, way to meet somebody. But I feel like now...
Well, it was at work. I met somebody at work. If you really round it out, just because true. Work was the circus, it's like...
yeah, I guess that made it the weird scenario. But yeah, so even now, like, I feel like I'm not a huge fan of dating apps, because when they first came out, I feel like they were used as what they should have been. But now I think hookup culture has gotten pretty crazy, and people my age, I find, usually only use dating apps to find someone to just have sex with, and that's usually what they're for. There are obviously exceptions, but from every story that I've heard of someone using a dating app, from my sisters using it, I've never actually used a dating app, just because
You've never used a dating app?
A dating app, not ever.
Are you dating right now?
I would say, yeah, there is.
You're dating, but you don't use a dating app. That's really interesting. So you just find them, you don't want that hookup
No.
like one night stand kind of thing.
Mm-mm.
So,
but even without it, that's also been like, if I met someone like that I'm talking to, I would have met them when I was like going out downtown Halifax,
in
like
person,
in
yeah.
bars or clubs, and usually that's how you meet people in person apart from like online. But the first thing everyone always asks is, can I have like your social media? They don't even ask for your number first. They always ask for
Oh.
social media first.
So is this so they can like creep your
So
profile
like,
and see
yeah,
like
you can,
what does she do with her
yeah,
time? What does she, yeah. So
like
they,
it's to see who you are basically on social media. But if you say things like, I do have Instagram now, but I don't post on it at all. And I didn't used to have Instagram. Like I didn't. And when you would say that, they'd be like, it's like a weird thing to not have. So people don't know what to think of you because they don't.
They can't check you out. So
Yeah.
really, your social media profile, like your Instagram profile, becomes like what used to be like, oh, I know your parents and you knew my aunt, you know, whatever, and you can go ask them like, what's their family like? Do you remember this kid? Now it's like, we're gonna look at your Instagram profile and sum up who you are as a person. So how does that, is that stressful?
Yeah, because social media, it's like it ties into so many things, because social media, like no one posts their authentic self on social media. So when you're going to look at someone's page, it's usually like this curated version of themselves that they want you to see. So even when you're looking at it, it feels like you're not actually going to see.
So really, what we need here is like a social media that has Aunt Vera's like version of you, you know, so you can look up. Here's what they're really not saying. Yeah, interesting.
But it's very like, and the and it's like if I've been downtown, met someone, and they asked for like, you know, social media or whatever, and they usually will start talking to you through that social media thing. Like they'll follow you, and if you like them, you'll follow them. I
mean, it's kind of interesting because that sounds like how I would get clients.
Yeah.
You know, like I post on social media what I want people to see about my business, and then somebody reaches out after following you or, you know, for a long time, and they're coming to shop for the right thing, which is an interesting way as a, you know, as a relationship. So they may have followed you for months before they reach out and say, hey, you know, I'm interested in going on a date. Is that what they say? Like,
it's usually like, we should hang out.
We should hang out. I like your Instagram. I want to hang out with the Instagram you.
Yeah. Like, it's not like dates are, I mean, people do go on dates, and through a dating app, like at least from like my sister, she used a dating app, and they do go on dates through that. So they're like, yes, let's go on a date. So that would actually be like a date first. But dating apps, in my opinion, like, I just don't really like them. I mean, if you find someone through them, like, by all means, like, that is amazing. But, like, and there's no judgment if people do use them, because it is hard to meet people nowadays, especially after COVID.
It's a job, though. Like, I had a friend, and she was my age, so she approached dating apps like a job. She was like, I'm gonna, you know, spend an hour on this dating app every day and message back like 3 people and see where this goes. And I think it took her about a year of that to find, because you have to weed through.
I find, especially from seeing other people use them and stuff, you have to weed through the people that are just using it for superficial connections, not like truly trying to find somebody. And I do feel like, you know, there's a lot of things out there in social media now that are like, it's like two sides of the same, like, I don't know how to explain it, but it's like, there are people that are like, you should be dating to find a husband and wife and get married, and that should be the goal. But then there's also the other side where they're like, you're like a boss girl and you should just get your needs met and like blah blah blah. And
you should get your needs met that are my needs, but really
so it's like, I find that hookup culture doesn't really benefit women, in my opinion. It just usually benefits
unless the women are doing that.
Well, yes, if you're buying into that, in my opinion. But I just find, like, for women, like, when you start hooking up with someone, you get physically connected with them, it's hard. That's when toxic relationships.
So back in the day, I mean, I have to say, I don't think there was a day where, you know, premarital sex was like always a thing, but it may be definitely more of a thing now than it was in my day. And there were, you know, back to your grandparents era, it was definitely a lot more looked down on to have sex before marriage. And
Yeah.
so you got married because that was your way into having an intimate relationship with someone.
Yeah.
But nowadays, what you're saying is, sex and intimacy is out there at the swipe
Whenever you
right
want it.
whenever you want it.
Whenever you want it. And I think that also does affect relationships, because cheating used to be like you had to go and physically meet somebody and find someone else apart from your relationship. Now it's like social media has this thing where you can always find better. That's the thing it's giving you. Like, you can always find someone better. There's always there's a lot of things with
the grass is greener on the other side, at least for one night.
Yeah. But social, Instagram, you can follow a bunch of people that you find attractive, and then you're seeing them on your feed all the time and liking their pictures and things like that. When you have an actual, what does that mean? You know what I mean? When you have a partner and you're following someone else and you're like, they're really attractive, let me look at them all the time.
So here's a question. It sounds like there's this early relationship stage where back in the day, if I was starting to date someone, they would get a chance, they would get a few dates before I would move on to trying to find someone else to go on a date with, because it was hard enough to peg one person. So they would get a chance. You would get to know each other a little bit and decide yes, no, moving forward, not. But now it sounds like you're kind of overwhelmed in this first introduction stage. So it's hard to get to the next phase of I want to commit to this person.
Yeah, because I find it's hard, at least for me, to make connection, because I find no one approaches it seriously. If someone's coming up and they want to talk to you, it's you could be talking to a bunch of other people and not be taking this connection seriously because you have other options. That's how it kind of. So I find yeah, then it's when you do get serious, then there's the talk of well, let's not have this social media, not that's what the conversations are now. It's are you gonna
get rid of your
people?
social media?
Yeah, or get rid of.
Well, wow. Media. So that's so when you actually get to this next stage, you have a talk. You're like, okay, we're going steady, or whatever you call it nowadays, getting serious, committing. Then it's because social media has been your way to present yourself as a sexual being to the world. It's do I keep this or do I get rid of it? Am I not presenting myself to the world anymore?
Or it's if you keep it and you start removing people that were...
So your friends list goes down.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you have way less followers. That's an ego hit.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying is if that's... and I know people have their social media as their job. And social media isn't just for... finding someone to hook up with or whatever, but that is a way for people to contact you, and it's another, and because it has all these other things where it's people can secretly message you, you can secretly message someone else, you can delete the messages so no one sees what's there. There's way more avenues now for people to be well, the grass is greener on the other side, let me go try this option. If someone throws themselves at you, yeah, why wouldn't you?
So you're saying let's say, I mean, I don't know if you're dating anyone seriously at the moment, but let's say you did meet someone and you got through this, you got through all that first stage, and you decide to commit to this person. Would you want them to get rid of their social media? I feel it's just a hypothetical question.
I feel I don't like being a controlling, to me that feels controlling, because it's if you want to have, it's I have Instagram and I only have people that I know personally, I've talked to and met personally on there, and I don't post anything on there either. So it's just for me to kind of see what's going on in the community that I live in. That's kind of, because people.
So I'm not trying to isolate you from your world.
But my last relationship, my serious relationship, we did not get rid of our social medias. We both had them. I would post, at that time, I was posting selfies, whatever, on my Instagram and all of that. But he did cheat on me through social media. So it's I don't think I would, even now, I don't think I would want to tell my partner, get rid of your social media, but I would be let's keep our phone passwords. I know your password, you know mine. So if I feel I can go on your phone and check something, I wouldn't feel like worried about it. But also,
So it's kind of like, following your husband home from work every now and then just to make
yeah,
sure he's where he's going on the way home or something.
which I don't like.
Yeah, it does seem a bit
because
controlling.
even when my last relationship, he was the one, like, I didn't know, I would never check his phone, anything. I had complete trust in him, and he was the one that actually told me that he cheated on me. And then I decided to stay with him for 2 years after that. But I had one night where, and even after that, I wouldn't check his phone. And then there was this one time where we were together, and I took his phone as a joke, and he got really upset about it. So that kind of put it in my head of like doubt. And then when he was, I mean, I'm not very proud of it, but he was sleeping, and I did take his phone, and I saw that he was messaging other women, and they did not answer him back, but like he was pursuing that. And he even said, like, I think it stems from insecurity, like, because he never thought he was attractive and all of that, and it was always like a thing in a relationship.
Well, I think that's, so we're coming back to like relationships in general. I think that speaks to something actually important for any generation, any era. Is like, the honeymoon phase, they call it, like the first few months, like you're building up the ego of your partner all the time, and hopefully they're doing that for you, and it's like, you're so beautiful, I love you so much, da da da. And hopefully you're all getting a huge ego boost and dopamine boost and oxytocin boost and all the boosts that you can get. So, you're kind of on drugs, right? Like with your relationship. And then, a year, 2 years, 3 years into a relationship, you're not doing that anymore. Like, I don't think any relationship can maintain that level of boosting, because that was the beginning, and then it moves into this kind of slow burn, embers, and you kind of do miss that. I think at any generation, like we used to, you'd miss that, like, oh my god, I just melt when I think about you. And now it's like, well, are you making the coffee or me, or that kind of thing. So I think having that transition to, I think what I would call is like a real relationship, where you're actually not
committed to each other.
You're committed to each other. You're not kind of drugged out on all these like hormones, and you're kind of going, well, how do we actually make this work as a relationship? And I will still boost you. But the boosting comes from what you said, like trust. It comes from, really being there for someone, like looking after them while they have their cold, or driving them to the airport, like all these little things, that knowing you have someone there for you. But it feels different. That's a different kind of joy. I just think, like,
even nowadays, in my opinion, even with social media and all the added avenues of someone finding something else, maybe, I think at the end of the day, communication and trust is the most important thing. And like, if someone's going to cheat, they're going to cheat. There may be more options and ways to do it nowadays, but like, it wouldn't have stopped someone from cheating when you were dating if someone wanted to cheat. So it's like, that has to, so I'm trying to approach it more of like, you just can't be scared. Like, if someone's going to treat and like, abuse the trust that you put into them,
there's just more options. And it's easier.
Yeah, and it is way easier to find.
Because back in the day, honestly, like, if you want to cheat, like, sure, when I met your dad, we were working, we had a number of people. But I'm gonna know all those people, as well. So if you cheat on, like, it's gonna be pretty obvious fairly soon what's happening. Whereas, like you said, online, like, it may or may not even be a real person these days. It might be an AI bot or something. And which brings up a different thing, actually, I was going to say, is what do you think about, like, where relationships are going in the future? Do you think this need for the perfect, this curated image? So you said, your Instagram image is like what people are looking at to see if they will gel with you. And you can already curate that pretty severely. What do you think about people having relationships with AI chatbots and things? Like,
well, it's scary, honestly. Like, I haven't looked into it too deeply, but I do know that this term or whatever that's coming up now of AI, like, psychosis that people are having with, like, even just ChatGPT, where you start to, like, talk about, like, oh, like, this is what's happening in my relationship, blah, blah, blah. And then it's like, this thing is feeding you back like, oh, I understand. Like,
it's always on your side. Yeah,
yes,
it's always on your side.
So
yeah.
then it's like, oh, like if I have no one else to talk to, I can go here.
Yeah.
And this is when it starts. So it is actually scary. And I've seen like ads for like AI, like talk to this AI girl or something like that.
Oh yeah, it's definitely a sexting thing, and I think it's actually hitting my generation. Maybe not like your grandparents. I think they're a little beyond trying to use the technology, but people in their 40s, 50s, 60s potentially, we know enough to kind of get on there, but we actually aren't used to technology enough to realize how it's lying to us.
It's curating, like with AI, you can curate your perfect person and get them to do whatever you want because it's you. Yeah. It's this weird, I don't know, machine, whatever the thing is, the AI thing that's molding itself to want you to, like, it's trying to get you to talk to it more. It's trying to get, that's how social media is. That's
it always asks you the question,
to you. So it's like, I do think that, like, obviously no relationship is perfect, but that's also when people are looking, I find when people my age are talking about, like, their perfect person, they're, like, instantly vetoing, like, if you do anything weird that they don't like, you're gone.
Yeah.
And that's, like, yeah, okay, fair in some aspects, but, like, not everyone you meet is going to be perfect. The person you're
going to meet nobody you meet. No, let's correct that. Nobody you meet is going to be perfect. Yeah. Like, so we're creating this unrealistic expectation of someone.
Which is why I feel like the thing of, like, the grass is greener, you can always find something better, but it's not, that's not real. Because you're your timelines, your feed, this AI, whatever, is being curated for you specifically, which tricks people into thinking, like, I can find something that is exactly, like, list for list, exactly what I want. And then, like,
so this is where we actually come to, the real work of a relationship. And this is where clients come to me to help with, they actually have usually gotten through all these first phases of a relationship. They've been in a marriage maybe 20 years or 30 years sometimes. And they love this person, like, they're friends. They know how to live together. They've worked through stuff. They've raised kids together. They love each other, but it's not perfect. It's not perfect. And so they're getting marketed to still. Oh, you could find a perfect thing, but you know what? You can't replace that history of 20 or 30 years or longer with someone, like shared experiences, the things that you helped each other overcome. Like, maybe you were really shy when you were, first got together, and they helped you go through college and get a job. Like, can AI do that?
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, maybe it can help you get through college. That's true, and boost you up. But I think it's this real connection.
But the physical part, AI, I don't know what the future looks like, but at least right now, that's not something that's provided. And I find, like, the dating apps and people want connection. People in my age,
but they're misinterpreting connection. What connection is.
Yeah.
Because if connection is just like, oh my God, such a great idea, let me help you. How would you like to further that idea? That's an AI answer.
The connection that's being fed to you now is, like, again, the whole curated for you. Like, it's all about you. But in a relationship, it's not always about you, and you have to work and give and take of a relationship and all of that. And I think that's where you can get, like, if you can, like, separate from yourself, like, there are people that can do that, but, like, you have to get out of the social media thing. You have to work at it, and you have to separate yourself from it, and it's hard because if everyone around you, like, when I was in university, that's what the culture is. Like, everyone around you is telling you it's okay. Everyone around you is, like, doing the same thing, hookup culture and posting on social media, and it's always about that. Like, it's very easy so it is hard to pull away, especially when I've grown up in the generation of when phones first came out. Like, I'm in that generation. So it's like, I do wonder what the future holds, because unless people can really find it within themselves to pull away from that, to stop looking for validation from others and find it within themselves, which I think is really important, especially with social media.
I mean, I'm just listening in awe. You just talk. Talk the talk.
I think that's important because, and it all takes work, and I feel like because social media is and AI is like, you don't have to work. It can all be done for you. Like, you don't have to do the hard part because it can be done for you.
Good point. That's a really good point. We try to keep making it sound easy.
That is, like, does that not sound tempting to be like, yeah, do it for me, thank you, like, yeah, and have to find someone that's just always about you, willing to do everything for you, like, you know, there's this saying online of like, if he wanted to, he would.
Right.
But to me, which is like about like if a guy really wanted to, like, you know, make you his and blah blah, he would do it, which is, I think, true in some aspect, but it gets taken to like such an extreme on social media. I think that it's like, if he needs to do everything. Like, well, because
I think in that case that brings up a really good point. I actually think that we want them to say no. At some point, you know, like we actually want, like the guy in this case, you know, we want them to do stuff for us, obviously. Yeah. But like, if it was a completely ridiculous, selfish ask, we want them to say, no, that's not okay. I'm not doing that for you. Like, do it yourself and you'll get a lot more out of it. We actually want that. So it sounds like people are actually trying to push the limits because they really want to hear no. This is how we gain inner strength, like you're saying, is actually getting a no sometimes and getting a, you know, I can't do that. Like, this is what I can do. It's
like, I do believe, like, yes, if you love someone and you want to be with them and stuff, like, yes, you'll do things for them that, you know, will make them feel special. But it's also like, everyone is human. I don't always have the capacity to do everything that you want me to do to make you feel special, like, all the time, you know? People can,
well, like you said, it's only one way. Like, am I also at the same time doing everything you want? Like, it doesn't, you know? So, yeah, I think I would say what I've seen, too, it's like a toddler, you know? Like, a 2-year-old's like, Mom, I want this. Mom, I want that. I want this. Like, they want you to say no because they want to know where the boundaries are. We feel safer. So it's almost like we don't feel safe in this dating world at this point because nobody's saying no to us. Everything's possible. Every sexual experience is possible.
That says no, you can find someone that says yes. Like, that's because it's so easy now with AI. And with
so you think you're being kind of duped into this is so fun, but actually you have no safety. You have no container in which to build your loving relationship. So we haven't painted a really positive picture about ongoing relationships, but I think
the positive picture is that there are people out there that can separate themselves from it, and there are people that are waking up and being like, social media is not what you want, and like, people are like deleting their social medias and finding that they're actually happier, like touching some grass outside and meditating and for a while. So there is hope. I just find, like, especially when you're young and you remember being in your 20s and being in university, at least that's my most recent experience, is like, it's so, like, I just worry that, like, you know, with like AI and all of that stuff coming out, that sex addiction stuff is becoming more prevalent. But it's not that people can't ever change or work on it or separate themselves from social media and all of that to be like, I want physical connections, and there are people that are doing that.
There are people that are overcoming these addictive things.
But it is hard because social media is made for you to be addicted to it. So it is, and you don't notice. You don't, and it's like, you know, if you're doing like physical drugs, I mean, maybe you don't obviously notice you getting addicted at first, but it's like,
you kind of know you have an addiction.
But social media is like, everybody has social media. Like, it's not just like if you do heroin, not everyone's doing heroin. You know what I'm saying? Like, social media is like everywhere. And when I deleted my Instagram, I actually found it hard because everyone uses Instagram. That's like the only way you know what's happening in the community.
Right.
It's not even just people, it's businesses. It's like, I don't know, schools now. Like, it's like, if you don't have social media, you're like really locked out of a lot of stuff, and that's the hard part, is like disconnecting, because then it's like,
well, it was interesting because your sister did go on a dating app, and she's met this person, and he was looking in the newspaper for things to do on a date. I was like, oh wow. He was like, the newspaper doesn't come out till Tuesday, so I can't plan a date. Like, it was interesting. Like, maybe a good idea, maybe not. I mean, there's only going to be church luncheons and, you know, whatever newspaper these days, unfortunately. But how do we we don't want to lose those
But
real
see, there
connections.
are people that are like that. Like,
Yeah.
there are people out there. It's just you have to, like, be really grounded in yourself, and you have to, like, you know, you have to weed through.
And maybe go out more.
Yeah.
What do you think? Like, actually go places, meet people,
Yeah.
do interesting things.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I know you work at home. Like, it's hard to, it's hard to, well, you're not meeting anyone at work, so you're not having any work colleagues, friends. So it gets harder and harder to meet people. But I think, you know, overall, a lot of these challenges were there when I was growing up too. It was just
different.
It was just a little bit of a lesser scale. So if we keep expanding the scale, which we may, like you said, it's going to take this kind of grabbing yourself by the scruff of the neck and saying, I want something different.
Because it's like the whole saying of, if he wanted to, he would. It's like, if you want to, you would. Like, you need to pull yourself out of that and find it and just trust and believe that you will find someone. That's how I kind of think of it. Like, if I find, like, that's why I don't have social or dating apps, because it's like, if I meet the person, I'm gonna meet them how I meet them, and it won't be on a dating app, and that's just me. Like, because everyone that I've met and have been in a relationship with has been in person. Like, I haven't had to get a dating app to meet somebody that's been interested in me. So,
well, I really hope that these stages, like the meeting someone in a, you know, that we allow ourselves to actually meet people, that we allow ourselves to settle into that time of a relationship where things calm down. Like, this is inevitable. You're not going to be having that hit every time you see the person like you did at the beginning. So really letting yourself, like, slow down and enjoy that you know this person, that you know what kind of food they like and where they want to go for a drive, and, you know, what their hobbies are and what to buy them for a present without having to, you know, ask. That's a really cool.
Deeply is, I think, the goal, and what I strive for as well. It's like, I want to be known and loved deeply, and I think that's what everybody wants at the end of the day. But it's just, there are a lot more, like, you have to be really working on yourself, I think, especially now. I think it's more important than ever with social media and with things being so quick and easy for you to, like, not work on yourself. There's so many distractions.
Right. So there's a focus of mind, and I mean, this is being known by centuries, like yoga and all Tai Chi, all these modes are focusing your mind on yourself and what you're doing right in the moment and not being distracted. You know, that's going to be a thing forever, probably. And that's
interesting. Why I think the work that you do is really important. Like, you do help with that. Like, and the work, that the body work, being present in your body, you know, because I found like, when I was in a more, like, just doing whatever, playful, I guess, like, kind of buying into the whole, like, let's just hook up and blah, 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 like, I felt very dissociated from my body, felt very dissociated from myself and from, like, actual connection, and I found myself feeling extremely empty after, like, not emotionally, but just, like, numb, like, you have no feeling, and like, I had no feeling inside my body, and I still feel like even now I'm just starting to, like, regain my presence in myself, because it's like,
I worry a little bit about young kids getting, you know, into all this so much earlier. Like, they don't even recognize. Like, you probably kind of knew that you were going into that phase of, and then coming out of that phase. But if you've never known anything else, I think that's going to be quite hard for the next generation. We'll have to kind of see how, we'll have to do another in 10 years time, like, chat and see where that's going. Well, there's so much more to talk about. We didn't even get into different types of relationship dynamics, like poly or anything else, but we'll have to.
That's a whole nother.
We'll have to do another episode. But thank you so much for joining me today, just for this kind of informal chat about relationships, how it's changing or not really changing over the eras. And thank you all for listening in, and feel free to join us next time.